have some of this good stuff so that it balances some of the bad stuff. I don't mean put names in the paper of someone who needs chemotherapy and is being paid for by some prominent businessman who has Rahmanis. But if there are 3,000 boys packing food for Tomchei Shabbos, or if there are people delivering wheelchairs, or people delivering ambulances, or Hatzalas coming out all hours of the day and night saving lives, we should get a public relations person who knows how to do this and announce it to the world. We are not a bad group of people. We have great people in our community, and we are doing great things. And I think that when we have an asifa like this, it's okay. It's not a bad idea, but something has to come of it. Because otherwise you'll have another one next year, and we'll have another few prominent speakers and rabbanim, and there will be a good conversation, and everybody will listen, and everybody will leave saying, I got a lot of chizuk, and it's very important. I would like to never come here again. Not because I have any animosity for the program, but I think the import of tonight's program, and I want to say one thing so that it's very careful, because I know we're on tape one way or the other. I'm not talking about a case in LA, or a case in New Jersey, or a case in Chicago, or any of my cases, or any of the people in this room, or any of the people who were arrested last week. Everyone. Is it dam l'kafskos? Is that give somebody a benefit of the doubt? Is that the correct expression? Let's give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait. Let's not condemn. We do that all the time. We do it in our communities. Scandal is great lashon hara. It's wrong. So I'm not talking about any case. I'm not condemning anybody for any of the things that they've been charged with. People make mistakes. People do things wrong. Sometimes they have the courage to accept the responsibility. Sometimes they fight. Sometimes they win. Sometimes they lose. You know what the 3 saddest words that I've ever heard in my life? Tati Kimahayim. It was used here once by one of the chaplains who spoke. Visiting room in a prison, a frum guy. I'm not visiting him, I know him, but I'm visiting someone else. And his kinderlich are in the waiting room. They're playing, they're playing, they're playing. Visiting hours are over. He's 3 years old. Tati Kimahayim. Daddy, come home. Ich kenn nicht. Tati Kimahayim. Tell a 3-year-old you can't come home. Figure out how he transfers that information. Bewusst nicht. Ich kenn nicht. They did something bad. You can't tell that to a 3-year-old. So if you never want to hear that, do what Jacob Laufer says. Do what the Rabbanim here have said. Don't do what you know is bad. You don't need to be me or Jake Laufer or a chacham to know when something isn't right. I was here once and I'm leaving and a young kid comes up to me and he says, Mr. Braffman, I need to ask you a question. He says, is it wrong to have 2 Social Security cards? I said, no, it's great. You should be very proud of yourself. Why do you need 2 Social Security cards? He says, well, one is in my name, and one is in the name of the apartment that I lease because I'm getting Section 8 housing, and I don't qualify for it. I said, the Social Security card is the least of your problems. But it's a chap. You know, one of the things we've been blessed with, and even if you only learn Gemara for the 20 minutes that I learned Gemara, one of the things that you're blessed with as a yid, as a frum person, is you do have a very good mind. You are able to figure things out. You are, there is something to be said about not having a Goyish cup. I see it all the time. But when you have not a Goyish cup, when you have a Yiddish cup, that gives you what I think is called cleverness. Figure out how to cure cancer. Figure out how to help a family whose husband lost a job. If you're so clever and devious that you can figure this stuff out, use it for something good. Don't sit and figure it out. What Jacob Laufer said, it's hard to go back, and I'm not going to go back. But what he said was really interesting. Every time the government made a new law, somebody figured out how to violate the law. And it wasn't Jews. The Italians did it, the blacks did it, the Colombians did it. There are a lot of clever people in the world, but when a frum person does it, it becomes more of a shanda. It becomes more of a shanda. I want to read you a quote from this terrible article that Rabbi Zwiebel read, but this is only one line, and this is really, because it really captures what's happened, and they're talking about really why is the media so intrigued when it happens to a frum person in a kapater or a shtreimel or a gartel or a payas or a talis katan. And here's just the quote that I'm going to read. The image of the black frock against the black newsprint has understandable staying power. Black frock, the black hat, and the black newsprint is not something that people are used to seeing in the context of a criminal corruption case in New Jersey. Yes, a politician in New Jersey? There has never been a politician in New Jersey who hasn't, I think, been corrupt. And I'm only guessing, so I don't want to get sued. But to see a mayor of a town, yes, you know why? Because every 4 blocks in New Jersey is a town. So every schmendrick who wants to be a mayor can become a mayor. 20 minutes after he's a mayor, he's in control of $1 billion. It's too tempting. That's why New Jersey has so much corruption. New York has 1 mayor, he's a billionaire. What's he going to steal? But the media understands this better than we do. They understand it better than we do. I speak to reporters. I speak to Jewish reporters. I speak to Jewish reporters who are frum, and they will tell you. I beg them sometimes, don't put this story in. This kid is going to kill himself. It's news. I said, it's not that newsworthy. It's news. And news sells. And it's a business. And when you watch, if you watch CNN, and if you watch Fox News, and if you read the New York Times, or read the New York Post, and you read Hamodia, everybody has a bias or a slant. So it's almost unfair to criticize because they're not embarrassed by it. CNN hates Israel. Fox loves Israel. If you watch it, you can see it. And I'm not saying that Fox is good and CNN is bad, but they see it. You can see it. But it's out there. Why? Why is Israel, one of the smallest countries in the world, such a thorn in the side of the entire world? Why? Because it's a Jewish country. Because it's us. Because you go back in time, you read your history, you read the Torah. It's always been that way. There's always been an Amalek who wants to kill us, who wants to destroy us, who wants to murder us, who wants to exterminate us. Why? There is no rational explanation. We didn't do anything bad. The people in Europe didn't deserve to be cremated. The people in Europe didn't deserve to be gassed. They were good people. My mother's parents were very honest people. They didn't violate a law. They didn't get arrested. One day they were just murdered because they were Jews. Now you say, well, there was a madman. It's not just one person. He created a country of madmen, and he created a matzav where the whole world didn't care. The whole world didn't care because Jews were being killed. That's why the whole world really seems to not understand what will happen if Iran gets a nuclear bomb. Because the first person they're going to use it against is Israel, and if they wipe out Israel, maybe there will be peace in the Middle East. That's how the Goyim think. They have the chutzpah to have this discussion in my presence. And I looked at reasonably intelligent people and I said, don't you think that this then poses a threat to neighboring countries in Europe and ultimately the United States? Now, once they kill all the Jews, they'll be happy, they'll stop. That's the mentality that we're dealing with. So if you don't understand why this case, or a certain case, or another case, got as much publicity, it's because there is an underlying, fundamental, unfortunate element of anti-Semitism, and there is an element of distrust that spreads. We have an image